Guys, have you ever wondered how some mothers seem to navigate their challenges with grace and strength? Today, we're diving into a topic that resonates with so many of us, and that's personal resilience and motherhood. I'm super excited to introduce to you in this video my oldest niece, Jordan, who I affectionately call the Fixer, because she has a unique skill set for basically being my unpaid personal assistant. And yeah, for Jordan's online safety, her face has been pixelated. Now, being a mother, and in fact a young mother, comes with its unique set of challenges. And navigating these challenges requires a special kind of strength. In this video, we'll be presenting Jordan with 10 insightful questions that will shed light on the experiences of young mothers. We'll hear stories of triumph, learn coping strategies, and discover how to cultivate resilience amidst the ups and downs of parenting. But before we dive in, I would be so grateful if you could take a moment to subscribe. Your support helps me continue to create engaging content for you. Whether you're a mother who is young or old, or just curious about the journey, this is a conversation you won't want to miss. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in. So today, guys, as I said in the brief introduction, I'm here with my niece Jordan, and we're going to be talking about a really important subject, and that's resilience for mothers. Jordan, a young mother. Blake's coming up to 5 now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Jordan when she was his age, and she was naughty, but she was also really joyful as well. That's why it's really important for me to capture this moment with my oldest niece. So let's dig into the first question, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And what has been your greatest challenge as a mother, and how did you overcome it?
A couple of things, really. When I was 18, I was told I couldn't have children. Um, and I would have to go through IVF to be able to have a child. Anyway, the time obviously wasn't right for me when I was 18, but it was as I got older and met my partner. Yeah, so having to go through IVF, injecting myself with hormones, not knowing if it is going to actually give me a child in the end. IVF, the process in itself is awful, and once they did the egg collection, I was having a fresh transfer, so they put them together with the man's, yeah, and then
Well, the man's sperm.
yeah,
You know, let's be honest. Men have the fun. The lady goes through a traumatic event, actually carrying a child inside her, which is really the basis for resilience, isn't it, as well? Knowing that your body is a protection or a protective comfort zone for this beautiful thing that's growing inside you.
yeah, let me finish.
Yeah, I am. But you know me, I like to interject.
So yeah, on day 3, so they have to be incubated for 5 days, and on day 3, I got told that it was looking like a non-transfer because they had really poor egg quality, embryos, whatever. Anyway, on day 5, it was based in Liverpool Women's Hospital, so my appointment was quite early. If I'd waited for the call, I would have been late. So me and my partner decided we'll just drive there. If they call us and say there isn't one, we'll just turn around. Anyway, on the way there, they rang us and said they had one. So anyway, yeah, I had the one put back in, and thankfully it did take. But the whole pregnancy was just really stressful. The first trimester, like, it's all well and good getting that positive pregnancy test, but knowing that I didn't have any other embryos I only had the one that was inside of me, and that was my only chance unless I was going to fork out thousands and thousands of pounds to go through it again. But yeah, I know it's not like he wasn't here, but I was still a mother because I was trying to grow him, and it was just really, really stressful.
So how did
Um,
you cope with that? You mentioned really, really stressful a couple of times. What coping mechanisms did you use to actually help you through that process?
just family, really,
Mhm.
like just trying to think as positive as possible. And my family being positive for me, even though like they all had their doubts, like they didn't tell me, um, but they did have the doubts because obviously it was a poor egg quality. Um, but yeah, just remaining positive and just being like everything's gonna be okay, even though I wasn't sure whether it was or not. I'm the biggest advocate on being positive for everyone and saying everything's gonna be fine, everything's gonna be fine. But I am not, don't think that way, like to myself.
Mhm.
But just trying to like persevere with a
Yeah.
positive mental attitude.
Well, you hit on a couple of very, very strong points. The first one, resilience isn't just about yourself.
Mm,
Yes, over time you can slowly shift your mindset,
mm,
but it's about the support structure of the people around you,
mm,
not just negative, toxic people that you just don't really want to hang around,
mm,
but family and friends who you class as as your family also are
mm.
vitally important to improve your resilience and also theirs. Because Blake, he is a bit naughty like you were, but
He's
he's a joy to be
cheeky.
around. Yeah, but it makes you smile, it makes you
Yeah.
laugh. Yeah. So, yeah. So, can you share a specific moment that when you felt particularly resilient in your parenting journey?
Yeah. So when Blake was, to like put it in a kind of backstory, I had
Excuse me.
postnatal depression
Hmm.
when I gave birth to Blake. Not in the sense that I rejected him. It was more I didn't like I had to watch him sleep. I constantly thought he was going to die when, like, yeah, he wasn't
Mate, that's most
obviously.
parents.
Um,
I can remember when Liam was tiny, tiny,
mm,
waking up in the middle of the night. I'd just
Fretting.
go and have a little check.
See,
Make sure he's still
I didn't
breathing.
sleep
Yeah,
unless he was
I can
breathing,
relate to that, mate.
in my face and I could feel his breath. So my midwife taught me to co-sleep
Mm.
properly. But anyway, so I was going through that, and then around the world, the pandemic was hitting, and the UK were kind of fobbing it off as not something that's very serious. Um, and it was at this point in Italy, and there was loads of media about it, and people were giving me mixed signals. And because of the way that my headspace was, I needed to know point blank what was happening. So I messaged my friend who lived in Rome, and just basically said to him, like, is it true? What's going on? And I didn't expect his response to be like, stay inside, tell your family to stay inside, keep them safe. So I actually locked down before lockdown
Yeah, I remember
happened.
you telling me.
Um, yeah, before lockdown happened, and everyone thought I was actually going insane, because of my postnatal depression. Um, yeah, anyway, no one believed me. And then when it did actually eventually happen, and everyone was like, we should have listened. So anyway, Blake was 4 months, 4 months old when we locked down, but then everyone else locked down. And my partner was a key worker. I was obviously on maternity leave with Blake. He was still very much a baby. No one could come in. We couldn't go out. It was just me and Blake.
Mm.
And that was super hard, especially with how my mental health state was anyway. Trying to find things to do to occupy myself and this 4 month old during the whole pandemic. was really tough. But I know it sounds weird, but like I kind of spoke to Blake and treated Blake as if he was a lot older than he was. So Blake started speaking quite early, so he could hold a conversation with me quite early on. And he is quite clever now
Yeah,
and
I
very,
agree.
very switched on. For his age, like people can't believe he is the age he is, not just because of his build and stuff, because he's a little unit, but because he's very wise beyond his years. He's like a little old man.
Yeah, but that's a good thing though, mate.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
that's what
yeah,
one thing that I was resilient with, and
yeah.
it kind of worked
And
out.
that's really what these discussions are about.
Mm,
Sharing negative outcomes, but looking at them as opportunities.
mm.
You know, so if that hadn't happened, maybe Blake wouldn't be the little engaging character he is now.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know, and when you say unit, you know he has got quite muscular timber. I can see him being a rugby player when he's older.
Well, he plays
You know,
rugby now.
yeah. So that quite nicely links into how do you cope with stress or overwhelming situations related to motherhood or motherhood, not hood.
Not
Now,
who. Um, just taking a step back, really. Like, obviously, Blake is a quite not a difficult child, but he requires a lot of attention because he is very switched on. Um, he does think he's about 13 years old, so he has a little bit of a temper, and wants things his way. And he always says this is his house. And
yeah.
it's like, no, mate.
Well, I can remember somebody 25 or so years ago being a little bit similar to that as well,
Yeah,
Jordan.
well,
You know, so maybe he gets those genes from his mother.
he definitely does get my personality. But I've lost my trail of thought now. Oh yeah, like learning. It's kind of just taking a step back and realizing that sometimes there is a reason why children act the way that they act. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I am only human and I do shout sometimes, even I instantly regret shouting at him, but um you are human. And when, like, I don't know, like when he was a lot young, well, I say a lot younger, when he was like 2, he was smacking, and when someone whacks you in your face, like quite abruptly, quite hard, it is hard to just take that step back and be like, he's only 2, it's
Yeah.
fine, it's fine. um yeah, I have done Reiki as well, and obviously because of my postnatal depression, as I said before, I was put on antidepressants, which I know there is quite a stigma around, but it has really helped me. Like, most of my family say I'm a completely different person, not in the sense that like it's numbed my emotions, because it hasn't. Like, I'm a complete melt. I cry it like strictly. um, but I'm a lot calmer, and what antidepressants do is basically push that like happiness positive through your body, through your
Mm,
nerves. And there is a massive stigma around
yeah.
antidepressants and everyone being on them,
Well,
but
there's
I
there's
was
a
put on
massive
them.
stigma around a lot of things, and a lot of it is to push certain narratives.
Hmm.
Now, the good thing about antidepressants, in my opinion, is it assists the coping structure now.
Mm,
Yeah. The not so good thing is the continuance of well, not just continuance, but reliance on things like that to fix problems for you.
mm,
And I know from knowing you since you were born, you're not like that.
mm,
You're viewing them as I need it now,
mm,
but you're also looking at other structures,
mm,
like you mentioned, Reiki, and other things as well, because we've had discussions about crystals and things, haven't we?
mm,
To actually support that. So this antidepressants are here now
mm,
because you need a coping structure now before you lose your mind. But you're also looking at different ways to actually support this so you don't need this anymore, you know, and you're not reliant on that. The stigma is just noise, you know. Quick fix, this is long-term fix. And long-term fix takes time. Like resilience isn't just a ta-da, watch a video, I'm now resilient. It's a continuous process that you'll continue to have to do all the way through your life. From birth to, sadly, death. Yeah. So, how for you has becoming a mother changed your perspective on resilience? You know, before becoming a mother, did you really care about various
No,
different things? So how has having Blake changed that for you?
it's changed everything. Like, money wasn't like a priority. Health wasn't a priority. I just liked having fun. I was just young, wanted fun, but the minute that I even thought or considered having a child, I started to put plans in place before I went through that. So saving, like ridiculous amount of saving to buy my own house. I passed my driving test, so I had a form of transport. My health is like huge. Like I take don't I take vitamins.
But you also eat quite well as well.
I eat quite
And you
well.
do fears as and when you walk a hell of a lot with
Yeah,
Blake and you go to interesting places, don't you?
yeah, a lot of interesting places. Basically, in a nutshell, my life now revolves around Blake. So I have a really good job. I love my job. I work really hard to do well and exceed even further to get money for Blake, which most of my money too does go on Blake or stuff for Blake or the house. Don't really go out much. Every weekend we're always out doing stuff, me and Blake. Obviously, this house is our house and it will be Blake's eventually. Um Not that he'll know it, because he's got to appreciate it first.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's completely changed my mindset on everything. Like I used to not mind. I know it sounds ridiculous, but like not shy away from the news of bad. But now I do because I don't. It scares me, like growing up in this world.
Yeah. It it also scares me as well because, you know, Gabe, Liam,
Mm.
they're going to be growing up in this world beyond the fact of when I'm not here anymore. You know, so I can completely relate to what you're saying. For me, though, I and you do it to a certain extent as well, and that's why I really like your way of parenting because you allow Blake to take risks, but they're calculated risks
Mm.
that you can control in some ways
Mm.
without getting rid of the fun. So
Yeah.
you're not one of these parents who completely wraps their kids in cotton wool and, oh, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Yeah. You and your siblings who have children, Jade and Sean, you all in your own different ways have a unique yet really resilient style of parenting,
Mm.
which I'm really proud of being your uncle, you know.
Yeah.
To see how you guys, and it is you guys, have actually grown into such wonderful people, you know.
Thanks.
So let's look. How do you bounce back from setbacks and difficulties in your parenting experience?
Just learning from them.
Yeah, in what ways?
So
Have you got any specific examples that you could share?
mm, yeah, probably. So I have always been very easy on Blake and kind of brush off any bad behaviour because he was just
A
so,
wonder child.
yeah, like my little miracle. And I did let him get away with a hell of a lot, and it bit me right on the bum because his behaviour escalated ridiculously. And learning that you can put boundaries in place but still have fun, and let him have that little bit of independence, but then bringing him right back to you can be independent, but you are still only 4 years old, and mummy needs to, like, brushing his teeth. Just a really silly example of brushing his teeth. He's really independent. He wants to brush his own teeth, which is absolutely fine, but he doesn't do it properly. Like, he does it, but not fully. So then me then having to take that back, which at first he really hated because he wanted to do it.
Yeah. He's an independent person like you, mate.
Yeah, but like stuff like that, getting dressed, absolutely fine. Most of the time he ends up with his boxers inside out or whatever. I kind of just leave it at that point. I'm like, yeah, you got yourself dressed. Well done, mate. High five. To go to school with in some right weird scenarios. But anything like personal hygiene, so washing himself, his teeth, anything like that, I let him give it a good go, but then I have to intervene because
And I think in some ways that intervention's important because it's not just criticising him, because some parents, I'll just give it here, I'll do it. You're allowing him to do it first. So it's giving him a form of independence. But what you're also doing is, in some ways, being very proactive in constructively criticising him, for want of a better word, by saying, oh, but you need to do it this way. You need to do that. Make sure you get the back ones and the inside your tongue and stuff. And slowly over time, because he is still quite small, that intervention and doing it for him will slowly melt into the mist, and he'll be able to do it. He'll have fantastic teeth, his whole life. Some parents are not like that, so that's again something to be really proud of, your own personal, resilience, mate. Can you describe a time when you actually implement self-care into your life?
Yeah.
Come on.
So,
or various times, how you have your you time.
I don't get a lot of me time, I'm not gonna lie. But when I do get me time, I do like having my nails done and my eyelashes done. I mean, a lot of the time Blake does come with me to get my nails done, so it's not really me time. But he just plays with my nail girl's children, like,
So it's still you
a
time,
little
isn't it?
bit of me time. Always trying to get like a shower or a bath once he's in bed, just like what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, if he's asleep, it's less of a fact of having to jump out of the bath to quickly go and deal with Blake, or Blake asking you questions where you would just want to soak and put some candles on, some nice, I don't know, soft music or something. I don't know what you do. To give yourself the me time.
I also have Fridays off work, so it's very new having a Friday to himself. Because Blake is only just started like full-time education, but now I have a Friday to like catch up with stuff. I know it's like silly stuff like doing my housework or my washing or reading my book, but it's just little things.
It all feeds into resilience, mate. Providing a hygienically healthy environment for you and your family to grow is a vital factor. So having that time to be mindful on your own, just getting on with stuff, is super important. My final question: do you have any advice for other young mothers or people who are part of the support structure for young mothers to help them to strengthen their resilience? Do you have any advice?
Yeah.
Because this has been a super engaging conversation, Jordan. So over to you again.
Just be authentically yourself, and everybody has their own different forms of parenting, and they can tell you this is the right way to do it. And it's not like you know your children best more than anyone. You know what's best for them. You do what you think's right. But do not isolate yourself. It really does take a village to bring up a child. So use that support network. Use your family, your friends, your neighbours, anyone really. Join groups. Groups are really, really good just to engage with people who have children the same age. Clubs as well if they're a bit older, so like rugby, football, swimming, anything like that really. It's just kind of realizing that you're not on your own. Don't try and do it on your own, it's too much. And I know people want to be like super parents, and you are a super parent. Like,
I think every positive parent like you and Luke are super parents.
yeah.
You know, yes, there are bad parents in the world, so don't get me wrong, but let's not talk about them. You know,
No.
I was lucky. I had two fantastic parents. I try to be the best parent I can be for my two children, which is hard because obviously my youngest lives in Dubai with his mom. My oldest lives here with his mum because, as most
Parenting's hard
men,
regardless,
yeah,
though. It's hard for
it
everybody.
is. But we all talk, and talking and communication, as you quite rightly said, with each other is important. And I'm super proud of you, mate, to actually open up as much as you have during this interview because I didn't expect that. So fist bump for that, mate. Absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much, Jordan, for hopefully we can get you on the channel more because it's been really, no, I'm being serious, mate. It's been really insightful. So
Hopefully the
guys,
microphone's heard me.
yeah, if you've got any proactive comments in regards to your parenting style, please add them in the comments below. Like, subscribe as always, because it helps me to help you. And that's it. See you on the next one. Adios, amigos. Cheers, Jordan.
Yours.